This is a staircase. It's like very high up, so a lot of steps to walk down. Goes all the way down. Scary. So this building was made. In 1348. I think it's like a renovated loft or attic. We just arrived in our Florence Airbnb, and the host personally checked us in. It's a very cute old Italian man. Welcome to Florence, starting with the most important aspect of the trip, which is accommodation. The place we stayed at was in the attic of someone's apartment, so we had to walk up like 7 flights of stairs with our luggage. But other than that, we were really happy with it because it was in a great area. To be honest though, most Airbnbs would be located pretty central in Florence because it's a small city, so most places are within walking distance of each other. There was also a really nice hotel that recently opened near our Airbnb, and it's called 25 Hours Hotel. I recommend staying in this area, which is pretty much right in the center of Florence. But as I said before, Florence is very small and walkable, so you can stay in most places in the city. Florence is known for its sandwiches. There's a few sandwich joints to choose from, but since it was our first time, we went to the most hyped and touristy one. I think it's called El Antico Veneo. Sorry if I butchered it, but this place is known for its classic Tuscan flavors and generous portions. The specific type of sandwich that's famous here is called a schiacciata, which is a type of flatbread that's crispy on the outside, but soft on the inside. This place was definitely very crowded, and it's so popular they actually opened 3 locations on the same street to cut down on wait times, which I think is pretty smart. It is so big, like it's so big size of like. It's just massive.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
The next place we ate at is where we went after a long walk around the city. We were really craving a quick but filling snack, and this place I think specializes in Sicilian street food. Now onto gelato. After Rome, we felt like we really needed to cut back on desserts, so we only tried 2 places here. Apparently the way you tell if gelato is authentic in Italy, or if it's a tourist trap, is if the gelato is piled high and fluffy in these sort of towering swirls, because authentic gelato is actually stored at slightly warmer temperatures, which makes it less fluffy in texture. It doesn't look as good, but trust me, it tastes much better. We didn't come to Florence for the pasta because we had our fair share in Rome, but we were really hungry this one night and stumbled into this restaurant which turned out to have the best seafood pasta that we've ever had, like ever. Unfortunately, the soup we ordered wasn't as great. On our last night in Italy, we ended up going to this quaint restaurant near where we were staying, and I ordered a classic spag bowl, which is my all-time favorite comfort food because I used to have these microwaved spag bowls all the time when I was younger, and it's just associated with a lot of great memories. But this spag bowl was 1,000 times better, obviously, than the microwave ones, and I felt like the ingredients used were really high quality and fresh, particularly the tomato sauce.
So hard.
Now onto bars. We're not big drinkers, but we did end up going to this rooftop bar near our hotel. So if you're looking for a bar that's a bit more bougie feeling, then I recommend this bar in the Westin Excelsior Hotel. The views at night were just stunning. As you can see, the Duomo is actually lit up here. The prices at the bar were obviously higher than the other bars, but I think it was nice and quiet, which we appreciated. I ordered this cranberry juice, which was actually quite refreshing. This next place is quite a famous market, and It's very touristy, but surprisingly, it was empty when we went Sunday morning. My overall impression is that the food here can be a little hit or miss. For some reason, I ended up ordering Portuguese chicken, which I don't really advise ordering when you're in Italy. It's something that probably tastes better in Portugal, but I was really craving it, so I ended up getting it. Next, if you're looking for a great cafe in Florence, I highly recommend this cafe. We just stumbled upon it and it had the most cozy atmosphere. It's not too expensive either. They also had a delicious cheesecake, which to this day is one of the best cheesecakes I've ever had. Gusto Bar is another place I really recommend for hot chocolate and sandwiches, especially if you're looking for something near the Pitti Palace. So we got Italian hot chocolate, which is literally just melted chocolate. Very interesting.
Nice.
Our sandwiches are here. So this is the sausage and truffle sandwich, and this is a prosciutto sandwich. Let's get started. So we're at the Bistica restaurant and Felix is just admiring all the different cuts of meat here. Okay, so the last and most anticipated place on our list is this Bistica restaurant that is world famous and it's won multiple awards, so our expectations were really high. To be transparent, this steak wasn't the best we've ever had. Australian steak in general is pretty good, so maybe our expectations were just really high. I will say though that the presentation of the steak was really well done. You can hear it sizzling here and it looks real appetizing. The restaurant also had a fantastic ambiance and I think it's a great, first date spot. Now on to some of the things we did in Florence. And starting first at the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore. One interesting thing that I learned from the tour is that one of the main reasons this cathedral was built was to actually compete with the town of Pisa, which was one of Florence's biggest economic and political rivals in the Middle Ages. The people of Florence wanted to essentially make sure that they had the biggest and most, awe-inspiring dome in all of Europe, and they did indeed get what they wished for. Today, such a nice and sunny day. I'm just going to make the most of it and have a walk through the palace gardens and then afterwards grab some lunch.
I hear the west winds calling out my name. They're telling me to hear.
Next major place we explored is the Pitti Palace. This beautiful palace was originally owned by the powerful Medici family in, I think, the 16th century. The Medicis were this prominent banking family and they were essentially a political dynasty that played such a crucial role in the Italian Renaissance, and they sponsored artists like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci and Botticelli. The palace though is not just a single building, but it's made up of a complex of museums and galleries. It showcases this impressive collection of Renaissance art, luxurious furnishings, and breathtaking frescoes. The palace also has these beautiful gardens called the Boboli Gardens, which just feel like such a serene escape from the city with the intricate landscaping, sculptures, and the many little fountains. We're walking through the private gardens of Pitti Palace, and it is one of the most beautiful gardens I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy to think that these gardens were once private and the only visitors were basically the family and other very wealthy, proud people. I'm glad that it's now open to the public for a small fee.
My thirst, you're the only
The next thing I recommend doing is walking along the river. It's a pretty long riverbank, so yeah, you can literally walk along it for hours, I think, but this is the main part we explored, and there wasn't a lot of tourists when we went because we went in winter, so we felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. I don't know if this water is usually this colour, but it actually kind of blends nicely with the buildings in the background. It's quite nice. And if you're looking for a viewpoint, I recommend the Piazza Michelangelo. This is quite a famous viewpoint, but it's gorgeous. You can see the mountains in the backdrop against the dome. It's stunning. So this is the famous square that contains the replica of David, the famous Michelangelo statue. The real version, I believe, is now in one of the galleries in Florence, which unfortunately we didn't have the time to visit. So if you're time poor like us, this is a bit of a compromise. This next place we went to is such a great place to go to if you're looking for a unique gift. It's essentially a leather school or leather making school, and they teach leather making classes there, obviously, but you can also buy a very nice handmade bag and other leather items, and they will even do custom engravings for you. So here you can see they're doing engravings for one of the little pouches I bought. We also did a lot of just exploring around the Duomo neighborhood, or the old part of town, where again the Medici family owned so many buildings back in the day, but their buildings are actually sort of discreet, so you can't tell that, you know, this used to belong to their version of a billionaire family. Yeah, this part of town was just stunning, especially at night when all the Christmas lights came on as well. I will say though that the footpaths are very narrow, so if it's crowded, it is a bit hard to just walk along without interruption because you just keep bumping into people. But again, if you go off peak, there should be less people and more space to go around. Florence also has great luxury shopping. I'm not a huge fan of luxury fashion, but if you are, I think it's a great place to go. There's a whole street full of all the luxury brands you'd recognize. And souvenir shopping in Florence is a really unique experience because there's a lot of little handcrafted goods and stationery, particularly paper goods. I found there to be a lot of unique journals. This is just one example. Oh, and postcards. This is some stunning postcards. This was a bridge that sold only jewellery, I believe. Jewellery stores all along. Isn't it cool just to buy jewellery on a bridge? Like, these stores are literally embedded within the bridge. So we're just walking around doing some truffle tasting and trying to find the best truffles to bring back to Australia. I actually don't even know if I can bring back truffles without getting in trouble with
You bring truffle sauce,
customs.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so you can't bring the liquid.
It's got declare, make sure you declare.
I haven't declared apparently. There's a lot of shopping around here.
We'll get some cheap ones so we don't have to get.
One thing I like to do in every city, it's just a very comforting activity I suppose, is to browse the bookstore. And Florence has a lot of amazing independent bookstores like this one, where it goes very deep in. So there's like a cafe at the back and there's just layers and layers of books, and you just feel like you're in a forest of literature. Sadly, the cafe was closed that day. And that takes me to the end of my Florence vlog. Here are some more clips of the bridge and the riverside. It's a pretty groggy day, but still absolutely stunning. I do want to return to Florence one day in the summer when the weather's nice and the days are long, because I feel like there is still so much to see of the city, and when you go there you just feel this overwhelming sense of peace and contentment. Might be because it's in Tuscany, but yeah, I just feel like I was truly on holiday.